You will start to lay out the walls according to the floor plan. The first walls we will put in will be the one between the living room and the bedroom 1, as well as the horizontal interior wall between bedroom 2 and bedroom 1. To begin laying out the interior walls, in the project browser, under the floor plan views, make sure that the finished floor 1 floor plan view is active. Next, you will select the Architecture tab. In the Build section of the ribbon, you will select Wall, and you will select Wall Architectural. In the Properties, you want to select the one that says Basic Wall Interior 2x4 Partition Wall. In the Properties, make sure that the base constraint is set to Finished Floor 1 and the top constraint is set to Finished Ceiling 1. The interior walls will go from the Finished Floor 1 up to the Finished Ceiling 1. Bring your cursor into the drawing area along the bottom horizontal wall and click. You will drag this wall up to approximately 18 feet 6 inches and click. Click on the Modify button to break the wall command. The horizontal wall that we need to create will start at the vertical wall to the right of the building. We will place the cursor along the exterior wall to the right of the building and click. We will drag this wall to the vertical wall that we just created and click. Click on the Modify button to end or break the wall command. The vertical wall between the living room and bedroom 1 is located here. This wall is 16 feet 9.5 inches from the exterior wall to the center of the interior wall. When locating the placement of interior walls, the dimension usually references the center of the stud. To properly place the vertical wall between the living room and the bedroom, we will need to select the interior wall. After selecting the interior wall, you should see some parametric or temporary dimensions appear. You want to make sure that on this parametric or temporary dimension, we will click and hold on the witness line or click and hold on the bubble and drag that to the brick or the exterior material for the exterior wall. For the interior wall, we will need to select the witness line. If we click on it once, it will jump to the center of the wall. If we click again, it will jump to the outside face of the stud. We want this dimension to reference the center of the stud. So you will click on it until it jumps to the center. Once the temporary dimension has been properly located, next you will select the dimension and edit it. So you would change this dimension to say 16 feet 9 and 1/2 inches and press enter. That will cause the wall to move, and it is located 16 feet 9.5 inches from the exterior material on the exterior wall. After making the modification to the dimension, you will click on this icon to convert this temporary dimension into a permanent dimension. You will select it, click in the white space, click on the dimension line, and lock the dimension. You will then select the dimension to move it inside of the living room space. Next, you will locate the horizontal wall between bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. The location of the wall between bedroom 1 and bedroom 2 is 12 feet 4.5 inches from the exterior brick material to the center of the interior wall stud. So you will zoom out and select the horizontal wall between bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. You should see some temporary dimensions appear. You will click and hold on this witness line, click and hold and drag it until it references the exterior brick material of the exterior wall. For the interior wall, you will click on the dot that represents the witness line until it moves to the middle of the wall. After your temporary dimension references the exterior material of the exterior wall and the middle of the interior wall, you will change or edit the dimension. The dimension should read 12 feet 4 and 1/2 inches and press enter. Then you will select the icon to convert this temporary dimension into a permanent dimension. Click in the white space, select the dimension line, click on the lock to lock this dimension in place. Where your exterior wall and interior wall intersect, they should merge. You should see the two walls, you should see where the two walls intersect, a clean intersection between the two. If the walls do not intersect cleanly, what you can do is, in your Modify tab, you can select the Trim Extend Single Element. Select that command. In this case, we want to select the exterior wall and then select the interior wall. That will merge the two walls together to create a clean intersection. In order to create a corner where the horizontal wall and the vertical wall meet, in your options you can select the Modify tab. In the Modify section of the ribbon, you will select Trim Extend to Corner. In this case, we want to keep this part of the wall and this part of the wall. So we select the parts of the wall that you want to keep. So in this case, we'll select the horizontal wall and the vertical wall here. That should create a corner where the two walls meet. The next two walls you will create will be the wall that starts to lay out the hallway and the vertical wall that is in bedroom 2. On the construction documents, the dimension that is in the hallway between this wall and this one has a dimension of 3 feet 5 inches. In your construction documents in the Essex PDF file, if you look on page 8, that is where you can find the floor plan for the project. The 3 foot 5 inch dimension on the floor plan is referencing from the center of this interior wall to the center of this interior wall. To create the wall to lay out the hallway, we will use this horizontal wall here. If you go to your Modify tab in the Modify section of your ribbon, you will activate a command called Offset. Offset will allow you to create a copy parallel to an existing object. So select Offset. We will offset this wall 3 feet 5 inches and press enter, and we will make a copy of this wall. We will click on the wall and you should see a dashed line appear to the side that the copy will be made. We want this wall to be above the wall that we're going to select. So select this wall and a copy of that wall should appear. The vertical wall in bedroom 2 that will be created is 12 feet 3.5 inches from the exterior material on the exterior wall to the right of the building to the center of the interior wall. To create the wall, we will need to select the Architecture tab, and in the Build section of the ribbon, we will select Wall, Wall Architectural. Place your cursor on anywhere along the top horizontal exterior wall and click. Drag down to the horizontal wall that was just offset and click. To place the vertical interior wall, we will need to use a temporary dimension that goes from the exterior brick material of the vertical wall to the right of the building. That temporary dimension will reference the middle of the vertical wall just created. So to bring up the temporary dimension, we will select the vertical wall. You will click and hold on the witness line and drag it to the exterior material of the vertical wall to the right of the building. you will click on this witness line here until it jumps or moves to the middle of the wall. After the temporary dimension has been properly located, you will select the dimension value and type in 12 feet 3 1/2 inches and press enter. After typing in the correct dimension, you will convert this dimension to a permanent dimension. Click on the dimension line, lock the dimension. Then you can move this dimension inside the room. To lock the two interior walls that lay out the hallway, you will need to select one of the interior walls. You will select the witness line for the temporary dimension until it references the center of the two walls. Because you use the offset command, you should have 3 feet 5 inches between the centers of these two walls. You will convert this dimension to a permanent dimension, then lock the dimension. The next wall you will create will be this wall that lays out the bedroom closet and the linen closet in the bathroom. This wall is 2 feet 5 inches from this wall here. You will select the Modify tab. In the Modify section of the ribbon, you will select the Offset command. Your offset distance will be 2 feet 5 inches. So you'll type in 2 feet 5 inches and press enter. You will highlight this vertical wall in bedroom 2. You should see a dashed line that shows up to the left of that wall. Once you see the dashed line to the left, you will select it. You will select the Modify button in your ribbon. You will select the wall that you just created, and you should see a temporary dimension appear. You will select the witness line until it references the center of the interior wall. The dimension that should appear, because you use the offset command, is 2 feet 5 inches. You will convert this dimension into a permanent dimension and lock this dimension. In the model, we will need to extend this vertical wall here to go all the way to the horizontal wall that separates bedroom 2 and bedroom 1. Currently in the model, this wall stops where the horizontal wall is that lays out the hallway. We need this wall to extend to the wall that separates bedroom 1 from bedroom 2. We need to select the option that says Trim Extend Single Element. This is in the Modify section of your ribbon. We want to extend this wall to this wall here. So we will first select this wall. Then we will select the vertical wall that we want to extend. Currently in the model, this wall here extends all the way to the vertical exterior wall to the right of the building. We need to trim that wall in order to represent the wall going to this vertical wall here. So what we need to do is trim away this part of the wall object that's extending into bedroom 2. We will select the modify button in our ribbon to clear out any commands. You will then select the modify tab. In the modify section of the ribbon, we will select the option that says trim extend single element. We want to trim away this part of the wall. We want to use this part of the wall as the cutting edge. So we will first select the vertical wall. Then you will select the part of the horizontal wall in the hallway that you want to keep. So we will select anywhere to the left of the vertical wall here. Next, we will lay out the bathroom. The bathroom wall is located here. The center of this wall is 5 feet 5 inches from the center of this wall here. Because you have the tub, the water closet or the toilet, and the sink mounted along this wall is typically what they call a wet wall. It is called a wet wall because the plumbing pipes that service the tub, the toilet, and the sink are coming into this wall. So we will need to create another wall object called a wet wall. The framing member used to create this wall will be a 2x6 stud. To create the 2x6 wet wall, select your modify button in your ribbon, select the architecture tab. In the build section, select the wall tool, wall architectural. What you will do is take the interior 2x4 partition wall and edit it. So if this is not the wall that you've selected, you will need to select the basic wall interior 2x4 partition wall. Select edit type. In the type properties dialog box, you will duplicate the interior 2x4 partition wall. So select duplicate. You will rename it to say interior dash 2x6 wet wall and select OK. You will then edit the structure of this wall. The only change that you will need to make to the wet wall will be, since you are using a 2x6 framing member or stud, you will change what may be set at 3.5 inches. You will change that to say 5.5. The actual size of a 2x6 stud is 5.5 inches wide. So change the thickness of the structural layer to 5.5 and click on OK. You will click on OK again in the Type Properties. This will take you back to your drawing, and you should see basic wall interior 2x6 wet wall as your active wall type. Then you can select, to start this wall, you can select the exterior wall at the top of your building. You can select that wall and drag straight down to the wall that lays out your hallway and click again. The wet wall for your bathroom, the center of that wall is 5 feet 5 inches from the center of this vertical wall here. So to place your wet wall, if you don't already see them, you will select the wet wall so the temporary dimensions will appear. You will select the witness line until the witness line references the center of the wet wall, and you will select the witness line until it references the center of the interior wall. You will change the dimension to 5 feet 5 inches and press enter. Convert this dimension to a permanent dimension and lock the dimension. To create the horizontal wall to lay out the linen closet, we will use a dimension of 2 feet 3.5 inches. The 2 feet 3.5 inches will reference the center of the wall in the hallway to locate the wall in the linen closet. You will select the Architecture tab. You will select the Wall tool, Wall Architectural. This is the wall that you're going to use is going to be your 2x4 interior partition wall. So if not already selected, you will need to go to the Properties and select the basic wall interior 2x4 partition wall. In the drawing or in the model, you will click on this vertical wall and drag to this vertical wall. For the temporary dimensions, you will select the witness line until it references the center of the wall on both sides. You will change the dimension to read 2 feet 3.5 inches and press enter. Then convert the dimension to a permanent dimension, then lock it. The next interior wall you will create will be the vertical wall inside of bedroom 1. This wall is located 16 feet 7.5 inches from the exterior wall material to the center of the wall. To create the wall in bedroom 1, we will select the Architecture tab. In the Build section of the ribbon, we will select Wall, Wall Architectural. We will be using an interior 2x4 partition wall. We will start our wall on the horizontal exterior wall at the bottom of the building and click we will drag the wall up to the horizontal wall that lays out bedroom 1 and click again. When you select the wall to bring up the temporary dimensions, you will need to make sure that the temporary dimension references the exterior brick material of the exterior wall, and it references the center of the interior wall. Once you apply the two appropriate references, you will select the numerical value for the dimension and change it to say 16 feet 7 1/2 inches and press enter. You will convert this temporary dimension into a permanent dimension, and you will lock this dimension. The next wall you will need to create will lay out the closet that is in bedroom 1. The floor plan does not provide a dimension that tells you where this wall is located in reference to the exterior wall. In the PDF file for the construction documents for this project, you will need to reference page 11. On page 11, you will see section AA of the construction documents. Section AA will show you what the closet looks like when you cut the building in section. The closet represented in floor plan view here is represented in section AA here. You will be able to see the closet as well as the stairs in section AA, which is on page 11. The stairs represented in section AA are represented here in the floor plan view. The wall that you need to create in the closet in bedroom 1 is represented by this wall in the section view. You will notice that the dimension from inside of the interior wall to inside of the exterior wall is 5 feet 1 inch. What that means is, in the floor plan, from inside of the exterior wall here to the inside of the interior wall here is 5 feet 1 inch. So another way to create the interior 2x4 partition wall to lay out the closet in bedroom 1, we will select this wall and right click. In the menu, we will select the one that says Create Similar. What this will do, you will notice in the properties, this will bring up your interior 2x4 partition wall. We will construct this wall in the closet area by clicking on the vertical wall here and dragging the cursor across to the vertical wall here. We will make sure that the temporary dimensions reference the inside of the wall. So we will click on the witness line until this witness line references the inside of the wall here, and we will do the same thing to make sure that this witness line references the inside of the exterior wall here. We will change this dimension to read 5 feet 1 inch and press enter. We will convert this temporary dimension into a permanent dimension and lock it. The next interior wall to be created will be the interior wall that separates the living room and the kitchen. The location of this horizontal interior wall is 12 feet 1 1/2 inches from the exterior material of the exterior wall to the center of the interior wall. To create the partition wall, you will need to select the Architecture tab. In the Build section of the ribbon, you will select the Wall Architectural tool. You're going to create the interior 2x4 partition wall by selecting the left vertical exterior wall and dragging the wall horizontally to the right. You will click on the Modify button to end the wall command. To bring up the temporary dimensions, you will select the interior wall, you will take the witness line and move it to the exterior material of the exterior wall at the bottom. You will click on the bubble for the witness line to assure that it references the center of the interior wall. After doing so, you will click on the numerical value and change it to say 12 feet 1 1/2 inches and press enter. Then you will convert this temporary dimension to a permanent dimension and lock the dimension. Next, we will lay out the interior walls here in the floor plan. We will use the information provided in this diagram to locate the position of these walls. The first wall that we're going to put in is going to be this horizontal wall here that is 2 feet 3 inches from this wall. To create the interior wall, we will use our Modify tool. So we will go to the Modify tab. In the Modify section of the ribbon, we will select Offset. The offset distance is going to be 2 feet 3 inches. Press enter. We're going to make a copy. We're going to select this interior wall here and make sure that our copy is above this interior wall. So we will select this interior wall to create a copy that is offset 2 feet 3 inches. Now we will create this interior vertical wall. We will use a dimension of 8 feet 1 inches. It is 8 feet 1 inches from the exterior material to the center of this wall. To create the wall, we will select the Architecture tab. In the Build section of the ribbon, you will select Wall Architectural. We're going to create a basic interior wall that is 2x4 partition wall. We're going to click here to start the wall and click here to end it. We will modify the temporary dimensions to make sure that the dimension references the witness line references the exterior material of the exterior wall. We will click on the witness line to make sure that this side of the dimension references the center of the wall. We will change the dimension to say 8 feet 1 inch and press enter. Convert this dimension to a permanent dimension and lock it. We will now create the interior wall located here that is going to create the housing for the chimney. This wall is located 2 feet from this wall here. In the model, we will right click on our vertical interior wall and go to Create Similar. This should bring up the basic wall interior 2x4 partition wall. We will click here and here to create the wall. We will select the wall and make sure that the temporary dimensions reference the inside or the center of the interior wall. We'll change the dimension to say 2 feet and press enter. Convert this temporary dimension to a permanent dimension and lock it. The next wall that we will create will be this vertical wall here. This wall is 4 feet from this wall. These two walls will lay out the closet that is in the living room. To create the wall, we will go to our Modify tab. In the Modify section of the ribbon, you will select Offset. The offset distance is going to be 4 feet and press enter. We will select the wall and make sure that the copy appears to the right. Once we see the dotted line that is to the right, we will click. To clean up the corners, we will go to the Modify section of the ribbon and choose Trim Extend to Corner. We will click on the parts of the wall that we want to keep. In the model currently, there's a wall that extends to this point. We will need to trim this wall so it creates a corner here. You will select the Modify tab. In the Modify section of the ribbon, you will select Trim Extend to Corner. You will click on the parts of the wall that you want to keep. In this case, we will click on this vertical wall. We will click on this horizontal wall to the right of the vertical wall we selected because we want to keep this part of the wall. You will need to select the vertical wall to bring up the temporary dimensions. Make sure that the temporary dimensions reference the center of the wall. You should have a dimension of 4 feet between this vertical wall and this vertical wall. You will convert that temporary dimension to a permanent dimension and lock it. To view the model in 3D, you can select the View tab. In the View tab, in the Create section of the ribbon, you can select 3D View, Default 3D View. This will allow you to see the model in 3D.